Okay, kids, it's time for another episode of the Fueled by Weird podcast, the only podcast where the only power we need is turtle power. I'm Chris Daly, and today I'd like to welcome Matt Harding to the show. Matt, what's going on, dude?
Hey, how's it going?
It's
Turtle
going good,
power
man.
is all we need.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. How are we doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty good, all things considered. Besides the state of everything
Yeah.
existentially,
Yeah, exactly.
I'm, all that put aside, I'm doing pretty well.
Nice. That's awesome. Very cool. Speaking of turtle power, that's kind of how you and I met was I saw your amazing Donatello print that you put online, and Donatello is notoriously one of my favorite turtles. So of course, I had to show you some love, give you a follow, share your stuff out on social media. So I'm very excited to finally meet you in person. This is kind of a big deal for me, and I'm super stoked. And I'll make sure for the people who don't know, I'll find the art print and we'll get it shared on social media so you know exactly how awesome it is and we can show everybody.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, let me
Hell
ask you,
yeah.
because you said he's one of your favorite turtles, right? And there's only
Yeah.
four of them. So what are
Well, so when I was younger, Michelangelo, I was really big into Michelangelo, but then I got a little bit older and I was like, I started kind of getting more partial to heroes that had glasses. So like
mm,
Donatello and like the Blue Power Ranger, even though
oh
I
yeah.
still I have a real deep love and appreciation for Jason David Frank. Blue Ranger holds a special place in my heart just because, it was when I learned that, even nerds can be heroes and kick ass. So I was like, okay,
Dude, so he actually grew up in the town near where I grew up. In
really?
California. Yeah,
That's
I'm not
awesome.
in California now, but yeah, he grew up there. It's Dublin, California, is where he was, and he was older, obviously, because I was like a kid, but
Sure.
like he would be around. You know what I mean? Like he'd be around doing stuff, and everybody would always be making a big deal about like, oh, it's the Blue Power Ranger and stuff. So it was kind of
That's
cool.
cool. Oh man, that's so cool. I would love to be able to have him on here someday. That'd be definitely a bucket list item for
Oh
me.
yeah,
Because yeah, he seems like a really cool guy.
yeah, because he also had to go through a lot, I think, with the filming of that, from what I understand, because
Yeah.
he's LGBTQ, and
Hmm.
I think they were not. From what I understand, they weren't supportive of it, like the show, you know?
Yeah, it sounds like it wasn't like the other main actors, but it was like background people.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So like, yeah, he has definitely has some stories to tell about it, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure. For sure. All right, man. So, thank you again for being here. I'm very excited we can make this happen. And for those that know, I usually like to start these things off with an icebreaker question. So, this week's question is, who is your favorite author? Now, this could be all time. This could be, currently, whatever we want to do.
Oh man, that's a hell of an icebreaker. Okay, so it's like anything. Like I have favorites, you know.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm just gonna pick one that I've been getting really into. There is a guy, Matt Dinniman, who's like if I'm saying that right, he does all the Carl stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm loving the Carl books. I don't know if you've read them or if you've messed around
Um,
with it.
Actually, that's a spoiler. My answer was going to be the same thing because
Oh, really?
I also have several favorite authors, but more recently, my favorite author is Matt Dinniman because of the Dungeon Crawler Carl books.
Like it hits me in that perfect spot where it's like it's ridiculous stuff, right? Like it's stuff
Yeah.
that's happening that's goofy, but there is
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
such a weird emotional core to it that like they explore like some pretty heavy stuff in that
Yeah.
in the sense where like they are people. So like when he kills somebody or like sees somebody die or whatever, they don't it's not like a hero villain type thing. It's like people trying to survive, and there's like a lot of um emotions going on with that. Like you feel
Yeah.
mad at them, you feel, it's just a really good, it's really good. I don't know how else to put it, but
Oh, yeah.
how far into it
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah, there's some pretty, the choices you make in that book, they weigh some very heavy consequences, and that's what kind of makes it hit more home because it's like a game, but it's really not, like you said, because it's real and it's really happening to people. So it really kind of like, any decision that gets made, it really kind of drives it in that like, oh, this is like game changer now, and everything is going to change.
Oh yeah, and then like the cat, Princess Donut,
Yeah,
like she's a goofy character, right? It's
yeah,
Princess Donut. She's just a goofy character. But then there are moments with that cat where she'll say something or do something that is surprising, and you're like, he just does it so well. Like you're like, oh dang, this cat's really smart, or this cat is emotionally not really that mature because it's like a brand new person because it was like
right.
just a cat. Now it's like it can think like a human.
Yeah.
So like it's just really good.
Yeah, I agree. It hits a lot of spots for me, like the way that Ready Player One by Ernest Cline did.
Yeah,
Because that book is so good, but it kind of hits in a different way. But it still kind of tickles that same part of my brain.
it
Um,
does. Yeah.
to answer your question, I'm not very far. I'm only I think the first three is as far as I
Okay.
am right now. How far are you?
I'm on the last one, so that's been written so far at least in Inevitable Ruin.
Oh, okay.
Um, and it's so they a lot of the books up to this part are always talking about the faction wars,
Yeah.
and that's what this book is. So it's like it's not the last book or any by any means, but it is like
Right.
kind of an important one. So I don't want to like give anything away other than that, but
Okay.
it leads up to this all the way up to this. It's leading up to this book, and it's really good.
And the new one comes out pretty soon too.
Yeah, I think in like a month or two.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm super behind. I need to get caught up, but yeah, I
In the
really really
audiobook,
enjoy those.
like so I'm not like I like audiobooks, but I also like reading. But
Yeah.
like for this one, specifically, the audiobooks are really good because the actor is just insanely talented.
Yeah, he does Donut and Carl if I remember correctly.
He does like everything, like
Really?
all of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I think they start bringing in some guest stars, but for the most part, it's just him doing like all kinds of stuff. And there's so they he has a Carl has a manager, right? They have a manager, Mordecai,
Yeah.
in this, and he every level he changes like form. You know, he's like
Hmm.
one time he's like a bird person, and the next time he's like an Irish, guy who drinks a lot or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that Matt Dinneman at this point is like messing with the actor because every book that happens, he gives him like a crazier character to be.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so good. Audiobooks I have a hard time with because, with an audiobook, I have to like sit and kind of focus on what's being said because if I don't, I'm gonna miss it and I have to keep, constantly
Yeah.
rewinding and going back. So I don't read a lot of audiobooks. I do make exceptions for some, like my favorite podcast or one of my favorite podcasts, Welcome to Night Vale. They've
Mm-hmm.
have you heard of that?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Um, so they've done a few audiobooks that I definitely listen to because Cecil, the voice actor who's the narrator, he reads the audiobooks. So I'm like, okay, I'll make an exception for that. And the Ready Player One book was narrated by Will Wheaton.
Oh right, yeah. Hmm.
So I'm
I
like,
think I
okay,
listened to that one too. Yeah.
I'll make an exception for that too, but it's hard. I know I was trying to shovel snow one time, and my very first audiobook was the first Harry Potter book, and that dude's incredible at the voices, but I would like shovel snow and I'd miss a bunch of dialogue, and I'm like, shit, I have to rewind it now, and I'm just like, oh, this is taking forever. So it's very difficult for me to be able to read one because I can't just like put it on in the background and then do work. I know a ton of other people can, just for me, my brain can't comprehend that. So it's a little tougher for me.
Yeah, that's what I do is I draw a lot. So like I'll have an
Yeah.
audiobook on while I'm drawing. Because I have ADD, right? So I'll start getting really
Yeah.
bored doing something like drawing. I'll be like, oh man, I'm bored doing this or whatever. So I'll have to put like something on just to kind of keep me focused on the task.
Oh, I get
Uh,
that for sure. Yeah, I being an older man now, I recently got diagnosed with ADD and so I'm medicated for it now, and that helps me focus a little bit and like I'll turn on like a podcast or music and just kind of let it play in the background. And for some reason, podcasts for me don't like I can put one on in the background and still pay attention while I'm doing stuff, but
mhm.
audiobooks I can't. I don't know why. Maybe just because
You need
podcasts
to
are
really pay
nonsense, I
attention
guess.
to them. You know what I mean? Like you have to really pay attention to them. Like, and I know what
Yeah.
you mean, like just to get into the weeds here a little bit, but like what I'll do, my method is I'll have it on for like 10 minutes and then about 10 minutes into it, that's when I could finally start like getting my brain to work where it's paying attention. So I'll like, so I'll be like, what did you just say? Like I missed it, right? So I'll be
Yeah.
focused on something else and I'll have to put my brain into that mode. and then so I'll just rewind to 10 minutes, so I don't miss too much, and then I'll be able to do it. But I know what you mean. Like it's hard to like center in on it. Fun fact, did you know that they used to actually have people who were like criminals and death row inmates and stuff used to read audiobooks or like record audiobooks?
Interesting. No, I didn't know that.
There's a guy. So did you ever see that that TV that Netflix show that was like I think his name was Ed something, but it was like the FBI guy who was like trying to figure out how serial killers' minds work and stuff like that, and he would I forget I totally forget what it was called, but he was they were on the case of somebody, and then he would keep going to this prison and talking to this big dude with glasses. Um, this is horrible for podcasts because I'm just like, yeah, it's this one guy who nobody knows what he's called. I'll figure it out.
I think I know what show you're talking about. I just don't. I never saw it, but I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember what it was called. I think it was one that was canceled, but
Mindhunter.
then okay, yeah, it was
Mindhunter.
canceled and then it was brought back, I think.
Yeah, so Mindhunter, the one of the main characters in that is this serial killer, who like all the guards really got along with him and stuff like that, but he was like
Yeah.
crazy. Mindhunter, serial killer, and like he killed his grandparents or something, like his
Okay.
first Edmund Kemper, that's his name.
Okay.
Edmund Kemper. And he because he got along with the guards and he was really like charismatic, he uh, recorded a lot of these audiobooks. And I think the original Star Wars audiobook was this guy. Um,
Really?
yeah, isn't that crazy?
That is cool. That's the thing I know now. That's awesome. Yeah, I had no idea. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
See, you learn something every day, you know.
Every day.
Oh yeah, he did Flowers in the Attic, I guess. Oh yeah, he did a bunch like yeah.
Oh wow.
Audible, Audible has them. That's crazy.
That is crazy. Huh.
Anyway,
Interesting.
that's a good icebreaker question.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes they're not that difficult, but that one was a little bit of a head scratcher, but kind of funny that you and I both ended up with the same one, so that's cool. That's
I
never
mean, that
happened
dude is
before.
cool, dude. Like Denneman, I'm looking forward to the comic from Vault.
Yeah.
Uh, he's gonna do the alligator guy,
The
uh,
TV show too?
the TV show. Yeah,
It's
and
gonna
I
be
and I
so
found
good.
him just out of a recommendation, like, and it was kind of like before that, like right before that stuff got announced. But I was just like at a Barnes and Nobles or whatever, B&E, B&N, and they just were like, "Here, try this out," and I was like, "All right." It was the best choice I made in years.
It was a good one for sure. Now, I kind of want to switch over from talking about, audiobooks to now talking about music because we kind of brought that up a little bit already. So, I saw
Sure.
recently you said last year you had knocked off a ton of really awesome concerts. Out of all the concerts you went to, let's talk about maybe like top one or top two favorite ones you went to.
I went and saw my partner, my wife, has gotten me to listen to some really good music, because I was kind of doing the millennial thing where I was like sticking to what I had grew up with and just listening to that stuff, and she really
Yep, I get
like
that.
listens to newer stuff, right? And so she got me into Sleep Token,
Okay.
um, which is like a metalish type band.
Yeah. Hmm.
Um, and I got really into that because they kind of like they do a thing that I actually really appreciate in music where they make their whole thing kind of like a story, you know?
Yeah.
So like they themselves, like I don't think anybody's seen has pictures or whatever of who they are as real people. You just kind of see them in their like costumes, like Guar, kind of like Guar,
Yeah.
and and so like their whole like they're like these eldritch. They made this like their whole thing is like they made this deal with these eldritch gods or whatever to be like musicians and their music like feeds the eldritch god or whatever, and it's their whole like show is just insane. It's like light shows and they have this huge set that's like 3 stories tall that they'll climb around on and all. They're really cool. So that's definitely one. Um, Guar's another one. I like Guar a lot. I haven't seen them in a while though. Oh, who else did I see this year? Dang, who else did I went to? Who was that band I went and saw? So there's a place here in Portland called the Edgefield, right? So They have you spent time in Oregon at all?
I have not.
So
I've
there's a
got I've
weird
got a bunch of
thing.
friends that live there, but I've never been there myself.
Oh, yeah, I mean you're in comics, so you know, yeah, it's like
Uh,
everybody goes.
I I'm not directly in comics. I just know a lot of people who make comics.
You're you're directly in comics. What you're doing is a
Okay,
comics
fair
thing.
enough.
Don't ever. I don't want to hear you ever say that again.
Okay,
You're
fair
important.
enough.
Okay. God
It
damn it.
is it is
You're an
important.
important part of it.
I appreciate that.
So because I'm from California, right, and we moved up here almost going on 5 years almost, and this business or whatever these two brothers called McMiniman something McMiniman, and they like bought out like everything, right? Like they like every historical landmark they've turned into like a restaurant or like a concert hall or something. So like there's a McMinimans in every single town, and every single one of them was like, oh, this was like an apple orchard, but now it's like a McMinimans. It's the weirdest thing. Because I had never heard of them, and I was like, how have I never heard of this? You know, it's that big of a deal. And so they have this really cool like old haunted hotel kind of thing that also is like a venue, an outside venue, and it's called McMinimans. And so we'll go there just to go see shows. You rent a chair, and stuff like that, and you can go out there and you just watch these bands play. So
Yeah.
we'll go up there every once in a while, and they have like they have really good shows. And I'm trying to remember the main band. I think because it was not a band that I had ever been really all that interested in before, but. Um, I'll get it for you real quick. But like they put on a show, they had this giant skull that came out on stage. It was like, God, it must have been like 20 feet, 25 feet tall.
Yeah.
But they opened for, or they were op the people who opened for them was Taking Back Sunday,
Okay.
which I
I've heard of
never,
them.
yeah, I never really listened to them.
Yeah, I haven't either.
I mean, like I when I was a teenager, I got really into like punk and hardcore and stuff, and I thought all this stuff was just like, I'm not gonna listen to My Chemical Romance. I'm too cool for that shit. But like now I'm kind of going back and listening to that stuff,
Oh,
and
dude. Yeah.
it's like, damn, they're actually good. Like, like 20 years ago or whatever, I would have been like, I'm not gonna listen to My Chemical Romance. Like they're too popular and they're too like
Yeah.
mainstream. And now they're like, I'm looking at them and I'm like, damn, this is one of the best bands that have ever been a band.
Yeah. I had that exact same experience with the Gorillas growing
Oh
up. I
yeah.
was like, I these are ridiculous. I don't want to listen to them ever. But then, they recently brought them to Fortnite and I was like,
Are you a Fortnite guy?
well, I am now. I wasn't for a long time because everyone's like, oh, Fortnite is Call of Duty for babies. And I was like, I've
Mhm.
never really been a Call of Duty guy. I've always been a Battlefield guy. But so I was always like, I'm never going to play Fortnite. It's stupid. But then my youngest daughter, she's like, hey, will you play Fortnite with me? I'm like, okay. So I kind of like got an account, did all that stuff, got a couple skins, and I'm like, all right, this is kind of awesome.
I'm in for life. Yeah.
It's kind of
Now I'm here
awesome.
for the rest of my life. Yeah.
It
Do the
breaks my
same.
heart
Yeah.
because there's a lot of dricks in there, especially the last few nights I've been playing.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of like terrible people. Like I've just been playing these maps where you just grind out XP just to unlock the battle passes and stuff.
Sure.
And I'm trying to do it's a Squid Game one specifically I've been playing, and I've been trying to build this tower, and I'm at the very top, and I'm ready to reset and start over. And I get to the top, and these guys just like double team and just kill me every time I get to the top, and I'm like. Why? I did that like 5 times in a row. I'm like, why? And they're like, just because. And I'm like, all
Just
right,
because they're
cool.
mean.
All right, cool. So are they little kids? Are they grown-ups? Who knows? I don't, it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's got a chokehold on me. And
I
when they
love
had,
it, dude.
you're on there too?
Oh yeah. So I mean, like it was the same thing. I'm like, yeah, this is like a kid game. I'm not gonna play this.
Yeah.
Like I had dabbled with PUBG a little bit because I had done some work for them. I wrote these three PUBG comics, right?
Oh, right on.
That's on. You could find it on YouTube or whatever. They're like motion comics, and they were part of the game. And so like I was like, I'm going to get into this game, and I had even like created a character, and they put the character in the game, which was insanely cool.
Yeah.
Uh, so I was like, I'm going to play and get that skin and like run around the character skin I made. And I was so bad at it that I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not going to do this. Like, I'm never going to do this. I ran around for like 20 minutes, couldn't find nothing. and then got shot, and it happened for like every time I signed on. Anyway, long story short, so I kind of swore those games off a little bit, especially some like Fortnite, right?
Yeah.
And 'cause it was like for kids too, on top of all of it.
Right.
And then the community behind PUBG was rough, like I think there's a scene in the comic where the main character fires a gun and they're like, that shot 6 bullets and that gun only holds like 5 bullets or whatever, like this is bullshit, what I mean, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so those kinds of games, I was just kind of like, I'm gonna kind of stay away from those fandoms and stuff. But then a friend was like, come on, play. And he kept doing that for like 2 months. And then I was like, all right, maybe I'll sign on. He bought me the Gambit skin. And he was like, here's the Gambit skin,
That's
I'm like,
awesome.
all right. And now I'm like, I'm almost daily on it, for the
Oh,
most part.
same. Same.
And I we'll have to sync up.
For
Um,
sure.
but I actually,
I'm not very good because
oh, dude,
I have my story is very similar. I didn't play forever. For a while I was friends with these guys. And they're like, "Oh, well, you should play." And I'm like, "Well, I've never played. I'm not very good." He's like, "Oh, we don't care. We don't play to be good. We just play for fun." And like we die and we just screw around, but it's super fun. So we played one night and it was awesome. And then we're not friends anymore. So I'm like, only people I ever played with online are we're not friends anymore. So it was kind of a bummer to get back into it. But my daughter was into it for a little bit, but now she's kind of moved on to other stuff. So I still kind of play.
well, dude, we'll
Like
play.
99% of the time I play by myself. But every once in a while, like uh Rob Ritano, he'll get on and we'll play. My cousin gets on every once in a while and play. Mike Swinburne,
Hmm.
another comics guy, he'll jump on and play with me sometimes. But he's in New Zealand, so the time zones like don't line up very good ever. But we
It
try
is funny. I
sometimes.
feel like a lot of comics people play it, like a lot of, but just kind of
Yeah,
like secretly. Like they're not on there being like Fortnite, but if you like throw out a reference or something, they'll be
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I know you're that Magic the Gathering is a big one that I think
yeah.
people play. Um, so I will admit though, like right now I'm kind of on an Arc Raiders kick because a couple of us bought Arc Raiders, and have you played that game?
I haven't yet.
So you're just basically going through trash. Like all you're doing is you're running out into the wasteland where robots are attacking everybody, and you're scavenging trash, right? And you
Yeah,
want to find like better trash that you could do better stuff with, make cooler guns and shields and stuff. But that game is the first game I've ever played that kind of is like it puts you in like a Walking Dead situation, right? Because while you're running around out there, you could be with a group or by yourself. There are other people called raiders, and they're running around. They're real people.
yeah,
They're running around doing stuff too. And so like a lot of times you'll come running in and you'll come across somebody and they'll do like the emote like don't shoot, don't shoot or whatever. You'll do it back and then you might run around and talk to each other and pal around and be buddies, right? But then
yeah,
other times you meet Negans, you know what I mean? Like other times there'll be guys out there. You'll find some good loot in a good room that was like locked, and they'll wait outside for you and be like, "You guys are going to have to come outside eventually," And they always have like a southern drawl. And then you'll be like, hey, "Let's just go our way, okay? Like we'll go that way. We'll leave you some of the loot, whatever. We could be friends." They're like, "Nah, man, you're going to have to die," like that kind of thing. Then they'll kill you, and it's kind of wild. Like part of me when I'm playing that game is like I hate humanity, and then sometimes you just love humanity. It's a weird game.
that's kind of how I've been feeling with this Squid Game Fortnite is because like basically the game is you hit these punch boxes to get XP and money, and you get the money to get upgrades for your building, and you build it up like story by story. You get so high, then you basically hit the reset button and start over. It's just a way to just mine a bunch of XP. And sometimes you'll get into a server where you can't do anything because people keep just like blasting you with missiles and stuff to like blast you away.
Just
Or
to be me. Yeah.
yeah, or like sometimes you'll get guys that'll come over, like they'll see you grinding away, so they'll come over and help you, like grind it up to its like full max level, and then they'll go off and do their own thing. Sometimes guys will come over and be like I guess the universal sign for saying you're a friend is you crouch down and then stand up like a few times in succession. And like, all
Mhm.
right, so you're friends, and then like let your guard down, then they blow you in the back of the head. So
Just
yeah,
to be mean. Yeah. Yeah. It sounds very much like Arc Raiders. The only thing that sucks about Arc Raiders is like, let's say you bring some really good guns. Like you're like, I'm gonna bring my best stuff, and you die, you lose it all.
That
you're
sucks.
just gone. So like they'll kill you and you'll lose everything you have. Or like if you find something you really needed that you've been looking for forever and then they kill you, it's gone. And they'll
That's
do that just to be mean, just to be jerks. It's kind of wild. It's fun though, but
yeah,
kind of wild.
I've heard lots of good about it. That and there's that other game that everybody played forever that with the you were like a space you're a space ranger and you have to kill bugs. I can't think of the name of it.
Oh,
It was
Helldivers. Helldivers, right?
Helldivers. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That was
I
fun. I played that a little bit.
at the time I was on the like first generation Xbox One, so I couldn't play it with like it wouldn't play anything new. It really sucked. But then for Christmas last year, I was good and Santa Claus brought me one of the new an Xbox One X. So I'm like, cool, I can
Oh, hell
play
yeah.
game I can play games now. And then all my friends who wanted to play either aren't friends with me anymore or just are never online when I'm online. So I'm like, cool, this doesn't work out very well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. But then you become really good friends with people that are on at the time you are, you know?
Yeah.
It's video game politics, you know? But that Helldivers was a fun one. I played that for a bit. Um, I gravitate towards like when I was younger, I used to play like the story, really story heavy games, and I still like those, but I just don't have the time anymore, you know? I
I
can
get it.
maybe put like an hour or two at most at the end of the night.
Yeah.
But I have a day job and I also, I'm trying to make comics, so it takes a lot of time.
Yep. I'm with you, man. Like I kind of like those games a little bit, but I really just like the ones you can just jump right into and just start going on something.
Yeah. Like I
Yeah.
played Dispatch and that was a lot of fun. But it was short, so it kind of worked out.
Nice.
It was very comic booky. It was a good one.
That is good. So concert for me, I just wanted to take a quick minute. It wasn't, well, there was one this year. I only went to really one, well, in 2025. But it was a good one. It was Dayseeker and the Funeral Portrait
Oh
and
yeah.
In This Moment all together. It was pretty awesome. In This Moment I've actually seen twice now because they came a couple of years ago. But
I think I saw Dayseeker also. I think they came. Let me look them up and see if I recognize them.
They're so good. And I missed the first couple songs of the set because the lead singer of the Funeral Portrait was like, "Hey, if you guys want, after our set, I'm gonna go out in the lobby and you guys can come up and meet me, get autographs, whatever, just take pictures." I'm like, "Yes, I'm going to go do that because he's an awesome guy." So I missed some of Dayseeker's set, which it sucked because it was like some of my favorite Dayseeker songs, but um, it was still worth it. Got a picture. It was
Yeah,
awesome.
I think they came through Portland this last year.
Nice.
I'm like again like I was just getting introduced to all of these bands
Yeah,
over the last couple of years, and I can't remember who I've seen and who I haven't, which is really bad. But
that's okay. Yeah,
uh,
there's a lot of newer stuff I'm getting into thanks to my friend Jen. Shout out to Jen. She's my music buddy. I don't I've recently started getting more music suggestions from other people, but she's like the first one that really we were trading back music back and forth all the time, and so she got me into a lot of good stuff. Um, like Funeral Portrait and Dayseeker. A couple years ago, um, Death Clock and Necrogoblicon and Dragon Force came here. And that
that's
was
that's
such a
fucking cool.
killer show, dude. I had never really heard of Dragon Force or Necrogoblicon before that, but I've been a Death Clock fan for a super long time.
Sure.
Um, so it was such an awesome show. And it's cool because, in my little town, you used to have to drive like 4 hours to either Salt Lake or Boise to
Mm.
see any big shows, but now like we finally have an arena here where we can get stuff like that, and we're finally starting to get like big name people here, which is super rad. I know Tool was here not too long ago. Um,
Where's the arena? Because I think I remember seeing like advertisements for it when I was kind of passing through that area.
it's in Idaho Falls. So it's like 10 minutes from
Hmm.
my house, but it's the Mountain America Center.
Okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, I saw like
Yeah.
ads for that. So that makes yeah, Idaho Falls. That makes sense.
And not concert related, but right around my birthday back in September, Bert Kreischer came.
Hmm.
So that was kind of awesome because I'm not a big fan of a lot of comedians, but he's one that I'm kind of a super big fan of. So when he was coming, I'm like, oh yeah, we definitely need to go see that. So for like a late birthday present, we went and saw him. So that was
That's
freaking
rad.
cool. Yeah. He's so fun.
I saw there was a band that I hadn't seen, two bands that I when I saw Hot Mulligan and Mannequin Pussy. I don't know if you've
Wow.
heard those bands, but they're good.
I've heard of Hot Mulligan before. I've not
Uh,
listened to them, but I've heard of them.
they're good. Yeah, they're really good. Mannequin Pussy, excuse my language,
You're good.
is they're a band out of Philly, and
Okay.
they're really cool. I think that I heard one of their songs in a movie recently, so they're like kind of
Really?
blowing up.
Wow. That's
Yeah,
cool.
heck
Lots of
yeah,
good music. That's cool. And hopefully lots of more good music in the future.
yeah,
Lots more good music in the
lots,
future.
yeah, lots of it. Heck yeah,
Heck yeah. All right,
and none
man.
of that
So
AI.
go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, I said none of that AI music. Like I know is becoming a real problem.
Yeah, man. Like I said, my friend Jen, we've been sharing a lot of music back and forth lately, and she shared a bunch with me. And come to find out, a lot of it was AI bands. We're like, this really sucks because some of it was really, really good. And I'm like, I hate to admit that it was good, but man,
I mean, it's meant to be, right? I mean, like that's the
yeah,
thing. It's like it's computer generated in a way that's supposed to make you want to like it. You know,
yeah,
it's I mean, it's Spotify's whole thing now. It's kind of like it happened fast, honestly. Like because I remember I had heard just rumors like, oh yeah, did you hear they're going to start using AI to make music? And all of a sudden you're hearing about bands left and right that aren't even real. So like they're doing it. I mean, it's 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 freaking scary, but they're doing it.
yeah. It kind of
Anyway, we don't
sucks.
have to get on an AI kick. Everybody hates
Oh,
it. We
you're
know
fine. It just kind
it.
of sucks that, every time you find a new band or new artist or anything, you have to double check and make sure, see if they're AI. She shared one with me that we were really bummed about. They're like, because they're really good, but they said they had released 26 songs in a month, and I'm like, oh, that's
That's AI.
definitely not a real band, for sure.
You literally have to double check everything. And then again, I don't want
Uh,
to get on a whole AI kick because I can go on about how much I hate it for a long time. But
sure.
literally everything. I
Yeah.
mean, every photo you see, every video you watch, every book you read, like you have to double take all of it now.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Very,
I
very,
mean, you're
very.
real, right? Are
I
you a real
promise.
person?
I
All right.
promise. Yeah, you
Okay.
you can't you can't AI this beard, man.
Not yet. Not
Not
yet.
yet. Not yet. All right, man. So, we've kind of talked a little bit about you like to game, you like music.
Mhm.
When you're not doing comics and not doing the day job, what are some other things, what are some of your other hobbies and your interests?
So I've gotten in. This was a pandemic thing.
Okay.
But while we were doing lockdown, like I'm like I think a little bit over a quarter Italian, so I've always like enjoyed cooking pasta, right? That's about
Okay.
it.
Yeah.
But I got really into cooking, so I cook a lot now.
Nice.
And I really enjoy it, which isn't like,
Awesome.
some kind of weird hobby, but um I dig it. I dig that, you know. Other than that, I mean, around here in Portland, playing Magic the Gathering's fun. Everybody seems to do that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, like you'll walk around and be at a bar and people will have cards on them just in case, like,
Really?
yeah, you got to stay strapped, you never know when you're going to have to get into a wizard battle with somebody, you know
That's
what I mean?
awesome.
Portland's kind of a fun place, dude. They do, board games. I like murder mystery parties. I don't get to do that too often, but it's fun. You know, exploring stuff, going on hikes, I guess.
Nice.
Every once in a while. No, actually, no, I'm not too big a fan of that. I'm trying to be a fan of going on hikes,
Yeah, I
because you're
get that.
supposed to. It makes you healthy. But
Yeah,
God damn it, I hate it. I'll tell you, I hate it. But
I get it.
I'm trying to get better.
I
Trying to get
get
better
it,
with
man.
it.
Yeah, Magic the Gathering is something I used to be super big into in high school. Again, I was another thing I was not super good at, but it was fun to do. And again, it's one of those things where everyone that I played with kind of just either stopped playing or they moved away or whatever, just didn't have time to play anymore. So I still have
Sure.
all my cards. They're mostly probably no longer legal to even use, just because I know how they change the rules all the time. But
Yeah, for sure.
but yeah, I had this one awesome deck that was a goblin deck that my friend helped me make that basically it was full of disposable goblins and you would sacrifice them to this big device that dealt a bunch of damage based on how many goblins you sacrificed to it. So
Yeah, that's
Is
fun.
an awesome deck.
You don't have it anymore, or do you still have
No,
it?
I still do. I just, I haven't played with it forever just because there's been no one that really wants to play.
Oh. Well, maybe because I every once in a while, it's been a little while, but we'll play online just with a program called Spell Table. So if I get one of those together, I'd be down to play.
Hell yeah, dude. I'm super rusty on the rules, so I need a little bit of a refresher, but I would be super down.
Yeah, cool.
Hell yeah, dude. Cool, man. So, I want to take a trip back in the Wayback Machine to kind of go all the way back. Um, so,
All the way.
all the way back to young Matt Harding. What
Oh
was
wow.
so I know that you write and you're an artist. Was there one you did before the other? And what was it that inspired you to get into that genre in the first place?
Well, my dad for sure. All right, so I have like two older brothers who are like older, like 10, 12 years older.
Okay.
And because they were my dad's like from his first family. And he kind of had gotten into the habit with them because my dad is I mean, he's a big nerd, right? But he was like he was in the military and stuff and had really interesting stories in the military, like worked in top secret bases and all stuff. And that's a whole nother thing. But he was a big nerd and he would take us all to comic conventions. And
Nice.
so I spent a lot of time with him going to like when WonderCon had started in the Bay Area, and we would just go to like the artist alleys, like because he liked meeting the artists and stuff. So like I got really into meeting artists face to face as a kid and getting cool like their indie projects and stuff, like so of course I loved Batman and the X-Men and Spider-Man and all that stuff and all that, but I got to kind of get a taste for meeting people, and this is the thing that they made. They'd be there and they'd be like, "This is what I made," and like I published it myself or whatnot, and I kind of really got into liking the indie side of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, and of course the commercial side of it too. But um, so I think he really got me started with it, and a lot of times it was people who were it was like the early '90s and stuff. So it was like a kind of an indie flourishing of indie stuff. So it was like people who wrote and drew their own stuff. And I think I started I kind of is I mean as far back as I can remember, like just being a little kid, I'd hang out with my little brother and we would, because during the day, especially during time when school wasn't in, my parents would be off working and we would sit around the house just drawing comics and stuff. And we were doing that for as far back as I can even remember. So it's hard to say like did I get into writing or drawing more first because I kind of just did them both first as like a little kid doing like a stupid little comic.
Gotcha.
Um, and I think from there, and I did that. I mean, I did that all the way up until college. And I remember deciding, like I'm gonna go and I'm gonna. Yeah, I really like writing, but like I'm not great at drawing. And I want to get a lot better, so I took out loans and went to a college and uh, learned to draw. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of always felt like the art, um, for me at least, is there to supplement the writing. And I do think, I mean, there's good parts of, I don't know. It's hard to pick one, honestly. Because like I've written exclusively and then I've drawn exclusively, and I think there is something really cool about writing something and having the art come back and being
Yeah.
like, oh, this is really awesome. I didn't think of it this way, or wow, you really nailed it. Like this is exactly what I was thinking. And either one is both really cool. And then I also like, drawing. And there's it's like it is two different worlds, really. And it is hard to explain. Like I feel like the drawing when you're drawing a comic you're kind of like the workforce almost, right? Like you're the guy who's building the house rather than planning the house.
Yeah.
And both take a lot of effort, but they're both effort in a different way.
Right.
Um, if that makes sense.
No,
Uh,
totally.
so yeah, I mean, I guess it really depends on what the project is and stuff, but I do love doing my own stuff too, just
That's cool.
exclusively. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just know that, sometimes you have people that are just strictly writers. Sometimes you have people that are just strictly artists. Sometimes you have people that dabble in a little bit of both, and they sometimes did one and then they kind of transition to the other, or vice versa. So it's kind of just cool to see, like, how you got started. What kind of prompted you to get that in that path, and it's always cool to hear someone's different story.
Yeah.
Like you said with your hobbies, like, cooking's not necessarily a nerdy thing, but like really any hobby, really it can be nerdy. It doesn't have to be a stereotypical thing. Like that's what a lot of people think. Like, well, my hobby is crocheting or I'm into horseback riding. That's not nerdy. I'm like, well, I mean, not typically no, but it's something that, if you're passionate about it, it's definitely something that you could nerd out about
Oh yeah. I think everybody's a nerd, right? Like
in different ways. Yeah, for sure.
I have a friend who's really into basketball, like watching basketball and stuff
Yeah.
and into, like the stats of the players and stuff. And man, those people are freaking nerds. I mean, like you want to talk
Yeah.
about nerds? Talk about sports people, dude. They know they have fantasy leagues. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
they get together with fantasy leagues and they compare stats and like, you know, they know so much about like every little like thing in that sport that they are huge nerds.
Oh yeah, for sure. And that's kind of, what I'm saying is that, just because it's not stereotypically nerdy doesn't mean that you can't get nerdy about it.
Yeah.
I think people just don't think about that. It's like, oh, well, this isn't D&D or, video games or whatever. It's, so it's not nerdy. Like, well, I mean, kind of in its own way it is.
Yeah. Totally.
Yeah.
It's not the classic version of nerd, but the thing that I think people make fun of nerds about, everybody has that for something, you
Oh
know?
yeah. 100%.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like these days, those things like are more accepted. Like being a comic book nerd is more accepted, and
Oh,
I feel like
100%.
nerddom has kind of rounded out a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like, and I don't know how old you are, but I'm assuming we're very similar in age.
Yeah.
But it's like the stuff that we got made fun of growing up in school, like people come to us for all advice for that stuff. Now it's like it's weird just to have the kind of tables turn. Like, you want to know about, Wolverine and the X-Men? Like, I used to
I
get
know those
beat up
lucky
for stuff like
fuckers,
that.
dude. I mean,
Right?
people growing up right now, those lucky little fuckers, man. Like, yeah, like like I would be, at school, and I wouldn't want people to see me reading a comic book, dude. I wouldn't be
Oh
bringing
yeah,
comic books to school and reading in public. But now,
100%.
like, you're the cool one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which is crazy because I've never been the cool one at anything in my entire life.
Well, you know what? It's a golden age for it, man.
Totally.
You
Yeah,
go to
yeah,
a hot topic, and it's nothing but superhero stuff. It's crazy.
it's true. It's like, if this store was around like when we were kids. I mean, Hot Topic kind of was, but this the stuff that was in Hot Topic when we were kids is way different than what's the stuff that's in Hot Topic now.
Oh
So
yeah,
if that stuff was there, it would have been a totally game changer, man.
yeah. I would have been super cool in high school. You know what I mean?
For sure. All right, man. So I want to take a minute to talk about a big accomplishment for you. You were an Eisner Award winner. So why don't we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, look, I'm not going to be like, oh, I won an Eisner, right? Because it was a bunch of people all in one project. It was like an anthology, right?
But
I'm
still,
being
like,
mean
you
to myself.
contributed to that
Yeah,
though.
I know. I'm being mean to myself. But it wasn't like, oh, Matt Harding, come up and, accept this award. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it was a project that I am very proud of, and that I, was a part of. And it was the LA Fire book that like was a um that Mad Cave had done
Oh yeah, yeah.
to be a what do you call it, like a charity thing for
Mhm.
people who needed it, and there are some specific creators whose houses like burned down, and it really helped them out.
Yeah.
And LA Strong it was called, and it had a lot of really cool people on it. Like I mean, Bendis was in there, like it was just David Mack and just all kinds of people were in this book, and everybody had a page. And so I drew and wrote mine, and mine's funny because I don't know if you got a chance to see it, but mine's funny because mine was supposed to be about a cat that its house burned down and it's running through the everything, and the firemen are putting stuff out and it's running past all this stuff and it's trying to find its home, its friends and stuff. So it's following their smells and it sees their smells as like colors, right? And at the end, it finds its cat friends, and all the cats are there, and I had them. Each one was like a different color that this cat had followed to find, and then there's some flowery prose and stuff about how, like being together and stuff like that, right? So I was like, yeah, this is really good. And I showed it to Sarah, my partner, and she's reading it. She's like, "This is so sad, right?" And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, if the cat finds its friends?" And she's like, "Well, they're all dead." I was like, "What? They're not dead." And I'm looking at it, and in the final panel where the cat finds the friends, they're all different colors, right? So they look like ghosts. And I was like, "Oh shit!" And this is like after it's already been published. I was like, "I just put a comic in there that for all intents and purposes, like, looks like they're all dead, like." All these people die. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's not supposed to be that depressing, and this is but it is, I guess. A depressing accident. Anyway, long story short, or short story long. Yeah, I mean it's rad, right? So like this book won the Bob Clampett Award, which is like the human. It's like a humanitarian award. That was an Eisner Award. So yeah, I mean it's really cool. So I up here I helped organize the signing at one of my favorite shops called Cosmic Monkey, and Bendis was there, and Michael Oeming was there because they were both on the book, and it helped raise money for everything. So I do feel like I put in some work on it.
absolutely. Yeah, you should definitely don't be so hard on yourself because you earned every bit of that. Even though it wasn't, just you, you still were there. So that's still a big accomplishment, man.
Oh, thank
So
you. Yeah,
congrats. That's
I mean
awesome.
it is wild. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I haven't got a chance to read it, but I saw a lot of people like Dave Brewer, he promoted it. I've only friends with some comic people, but yeah, I heard that it made tons of money and it was re really really well received, so it's very cool.
He was one of the people who lost his
Yeah,
home. Yeah, and so like he really promoted it because and we helped him from what I understand. I don't know how the money was dispersed or anything, but
yeah.
I know that he got a lot of help from that. So that
Yeah, I
feels good.
know he had like the house burned down and surgery like all kind of all together because
Yeah, like heart surgery, right? Like
yeah, because I had him and Drew on the show just a few months before that talking about Kanto and the move over to Dark Horse, I think is what it was. So yeah, it's pretty crazy how all that kind of played out.
he's a really cool dude.
Yeah.
I am fairly certain he's a vampire.
I had
Um
no idea he was a twin.
oh yeah. Well, that's part of it. Yeah, there's two of them. And I think he's between me and you and whoever watching this podcast or whatever, like ask yourself, have you ever seen him during the day? I mean, have you?
I can't say that I have.
He stayed young forever. He dresses like in like really well like tailored like vests and stuff.
Yeah.
He's got those blue eyes that are like the vampire eyes. I think, between me and you and whoever's watching this, and probably him, I think that if there is a vampire out there, he might know a little something about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if not, I mean it's definitely a candidate for a picture of Dorian Gray type deal.
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
You
I didn't even think of that. That might be what it is. Yeah.
never
He's
know.
cool though. He's a cool guy.
Yeah, I really like him a lot. All right, so also I want to congratulate you on 1 year at Oni Press. How's
I
things
mean, it's
going there?
actually going on three. So
Oh,
it's going
right
on
on.
three. Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
How's things there?
I mean, we're busy. So that's my day job is Oni Press, and that's like I'm a production and I work in their design and production thing
Nice.
and department, and I make sure the books get printed well and without accidents, or like misprintings or anything like that. I'm basically one of the people who are making sure that the book is good.
Yeah.
Um, which is a fun job, and I get to see a lot of cool stuff, and it's great to work in comics, and it's really great because I had done freelance for a long time, and it's a hard world. Freelance is hard,
Yeah.
and it's really cool to have like a steady paycheck that you know is going to be coming. You know how much it's going to be. You get benefits and stuff, and it's really cool that that job is at a publisher that I really respect and love being at. And that's within my world. So honestly, it was a grand slam of an opportunity.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
and and I showed up right at a time where the company was kind of rebuilding, because they kind of went through a hard time,
Yeah.
and they were rebuilding everything and kind of giving it a second shot. And so it's been, it's a very exciting, like, like our boss is really good at like, making deals with all these different companies and people and finding good creators, and all of our editors are really good at that. And everybody's just really firing on all cylinders, our marketing, our everybody, And so I mean, it's kind of cool. It feels like being at a company right as it's blowing up. Like I know that Oni's been around for 26 years or something like that,
Yeah.
but like it feels like I'm at this company at a time that is like a really like, important and interesting time for the company. I mean, it definitely is that for the company, but just maybe for comics in general,
Yeah.
bringing the EC Comics back, recently acquiring, doing Archie stuff, like it's just all the indie stuff that we're putting out, like Spirit of the Shadows and Pink Lemonade and all that. It's just been really cool,
Yeah.
been
Absolutely.
really fun to watch.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, and first of all, we want to do a shout out to for all freelancers out there, especially Blake Morgan. Go check out
Oh yeah.
Blake's Buzz. Blake's an awesome dude. Go check that guy
Blake is
out.
cool,
He's
man.
he's doing good stuff for the community. So show some love to your favorite freelancers. So we love you, Blake.
I
Um,
dude, I like Blake a lot. Blake's an awesome guy.
he's a great dude. He's very, very good dude. And I think he actually might have been the one that kind of helped get us connected in the first place. So I'm gonna give him credit for that.
Yeah.
Um, Also, yeah, Oni's one of my favorite comic book publishers. I actually had Sierra and Hunter on this show right around the time where they were kind of brand new installed in the company, and they were, man, they were so cool to talk to.
Oh yeah. I mean, when Sierra joined, I mean, she changed things dramatically. You know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah,
everybody loves Sierra. Um, Everybody knows and loves Sierra. Like there were creators who were telling me that like the thing that got them to warm back up to Oni was the fact that Sierra was here. Because
that's
they liked
cool.
her so much. So she's an amazing editor in chief, and Hunter is a madman. In the best way, like, but like the ideas he has and the plans he comes up with and stuff are some of them are just crazy, but he
Yeah,
he pulls them off.
yeah, it's they were so nice, and just the fact they took time to come on the show was really cool. And I was back at a time where we I was part of a network, and we had a lot of sway with our website, so I could, get a lot of big pe people like that. So it was cool that they took the time to come talk to us. They were very cool.
I'll tell you a quick story about Hunter.
Okay.
Um, it was the moment that I was like, yeah, this guy's cool. Um, I guess when he first got to Oni, I think one of his main missions was to bring EC Comics back. Which, if you know the history of EC, they're one of the most important publishers that had ever done comics, like during the Comics Code and all that stuff that happened. Like they
Yeah,
were a major like stabilizing ground for against the Comics Code, like they were very, very important. And with a really, really rich history. And so when he brought him back, he made the deal, which is crazy that he was able to do that in the first place. When he announced it to the company, he brought on a historian who did like an hour-long presentation of the importance of EC Comics, right? So like he could have just come in and said, we're doing EC Comics. It's going to be like he could have treated it kind of like a cash grab, just get some big names on it, whatever, just get, try to make it like flash in the pan or whatever you call it, like done that. But he took the time to make sure that everybody in the company knew exactly why we had to do it right and why it was so important and like what our mission was to continue on the legacy of EC Comics. And like that was a moment where I was like, all right, this guy's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like he's treating this as an important thing. He's treating this with reverence, if you will.
Yeah.
And he has done that ever since with that and with other properties. And I think he's really good at drawing the line there. Like nothing feels because we are doing like a lot, like we're doing biker mice and we're doing, from Mars and stuff like that.
So
But
cool.
nothing, yeah, and we're doing it with like great creators, like the book is cool. Like
Yeah.
biker mice uh is way better than it has any right to be. The comic is
100%.
way better.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, but he treats everything with a reverence and with a respect and that he doesn't need to because like growing up and reading comics you see a lot of like oh Marvel's doing they're doing I don't know they're doing like they got the license for something I don't know whatever and then
Yeah.
you go to read it and the art's not great and the story's not great because they're just capitalizing off the fact that because it's this popular like Terminator or something um like they're just gonna treat it like a cash grab
Yeah.
but I feel like Hunter and the editors here, they pick really interesting people to work on stuff, and they for instance like Nick Cagnetti, who did like Pink Lemonade and Spirit of the Shadows, is going to be drawing Archie, which I think is a really interesting choice, because he's kind of like an up and comer,
Yeah.
and they could have gone after someone who's like been established for a decade or two, and just hopefully would like, that whose name would bring everybody in, but they picked somebody who not only was perfect, but was like kind of like a fresh take on it, who isn't like a huge name yet, but is somebody that's going to do something like memorable and interesting with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those are the kinds of choices that they make that that makes me glad to be like a part of the company,
Yeah,
Uh,
and it's cool
feels
that
like I'm here.
it's cool that he takes the time to like not just say we're doing this and it's important, so just do it. Like he wants everybody to understand like this is why it's important. So he takes the time to, not really explain it to everybody because, everybody kind of gets it, but kind of just give them an understanding as, to, why this is such a big deal. And it's cool that he doesn't have to do that. And not,
Yeah.
you don't hear a lot of, heads of companies doing that, but the fact that he's taking the time to do that is really, really cool. Very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And Hunter, if you're watching this, yeah, you're cool, dude. Same with you,
Yeah,
Sierra.
absolutely, man. For sure. All right, so now, sorry we've kind of taken a
That's
long
all
time to
good.
get here, but I am very excited to talk about your book,
Yeah,
Not Gone Yet.
there it is. Yeah,
My
yeah.
background kind of doesn't do it justice, so I'll just put my face behind it so it can maybe come up a little bit.
It's showing
But
up. Yeah. Hmm.
thank you again for this collection of great stuff that I'm going to be reading because I appreciate you taking the time to send that stuff.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
So for those that don't know about your comic Not Gone Yet, why don't we take a minute to talk about what it is?
Sure. So this is the first comic that I've written and drawn on my own without any kind of like publisher influence or anything in a while. And it is a story that I is very important to me because of the lead characters and I'll kind of tell you. I'll give you like the the spiel, and then I'll tell you why this book is really cool and what it means to me as an artist in general. Right.
Sounds good.
Um, so the story altogether is that there's a company that is capturing ghosts. Right. It has figured out how to. You die, your spirit comes out of your body, and they suck it into a big old dome. Right. There's a dome in the middle of the city, and they've figured out how to do this with like this big engine. Right. And the idea is that they've monetized the afterlife, right? So like let's say you want to go see your grandfather. You have to go there and you have to pay him a certain amount of money, and then you get that you're paying them for like 10 minutes, and you'll stand at the glass and your grandfather will come up and you can talk to your grandfather or like look at him or whatever, whatever kind of ghost he is, how he's feeling or whatnot. So they basically monetize death, right? And the afterlife. And it's about these two twin sisters and one of them dies, and you kind of get the idea in the beginning that they kind of know how this technology works, right? And she's trying to save her sister's soul from getting sucked into this dome, but her machine breaks and was not able to do it, and so she decides she's going to go into this dome and break her out. And there hasn't been a human in this dome for 10 years, I think is what I had decided. And she's going to go in there, find her sister, get her out, right? And she's got her own miniature version of this machine that harnesses ghost energy. That's a long-winded explanation.
No, you're good.
But that's the story. So it's kind of like, cyberpunky future, but I'm calling it ghost punk. Um, and there's a nefarious other stuff going on with these ghosts, but for the main part, it's about this sister who's going in to get her sister's soul out of there, and it's like a ghost prison. There's other characters, like there's a band that she runs into that has just died, and so it's like out, around the dome, there's like this huge gathering of all the fans and stuff who are there to see that band show up in the ghost world or the ghost dome. And so she runs into them and they kind of like join this adventure together. Um, so that's like the main story. The reason that it's a important story to me is because I grew up very close to twins because my mom is a twin, right? And my mom and my aunt are like the type of twin that are very, very close. Like they talk 4 or 5 times a day. Before my mom got married, they had lived with each other everywhere they went. They just do everything together. And when they're together, they stand side by side and they finish each other's sentences and they're like soulmates. And it's a very my whole life I experienced this and have always been like intrigued by it because it's a very interesting like dynamic, like
Yeah.
they know like they like I don't want to like like a lot of people think that twins are psychic, right? And I wouldn't say that they're psychic, but like my mom and my aunt will know. Like they'll know. Somehow they'll know. And like there's like my mom had like a miniature stroke a couple years ago, right? Like a mini stroke or whatever. So she went to the hospital and somehow my aunt knew and she was calling me and calling my brother and saying, I think there's something wrong with your mom without even talking to her. She just kind of like knew. Then she tried calling my mom. My mom didn't answer. And then she was like, okay, there's something going on. So it's like it's weird. They have like these intuitions about each other. And it's a crazy thing to explore, um, and an interesting thing to explore because it's their base life mates is the best way to put it because they've been together since the time they were born. And like literally, I don't think they've been apart from each other for one day for their
Wow.
entire life. They've talked to each other every day. Um, Even during my mom's honeymoon and stuff, she talked to her every single day. And, at this point, it's like 4 to 5 times a day, you know?
Yeah.
Twins, crazy. So yeah, so that's the driving, that love and that dependency, whether it be good or bad, is kind of the driving force behind the character. And there is like, bad stuff going on in this dome, and these ghosts are kind of turning into something's making them mutate and stuff, and to like monstery ghosts, like what you saw in that issue.
Yeah.
And so there's danger, and she's the only person who's alive in this dome, and she's trying to find her sister, before something bad happens, and she's uncovering all this crazy stuff. That's the story. Um, as far as what the book, how I'm approaching the book, and what it means to me. Um, so as you can see, like the book, it has like that cool like acetate cover on it, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like that the envelope in the back. So every issue is going to come. It's going to be probably about 6 issues. That's what I'm aiming for. And every issue is going to come with like an interview that I do with somebody. And this one was Mitch Horowitz, who's kind of like he's like a famous like parapsychologist. Um, who you might recognize if you watch a lot of Shudder and stuff like that. He's been on like a lot of documentaries and Shudder about, you know, whenever you watch a documentary about like, top 10, famous ghost movies, they'll interview him a lot of the time. And he's a really interesting dude with like a lot of interesting theories and stuff like that. And so I part of it is me learning a lot and me, trying to share that. So there's always like going to be that in the back. And every issue I'm going to put out myself. Like I went out and I found the material that I wanted the inside paper to be on, which was like a manga material because I'm kind of going for like an Akira feeling thing. And
Yeah.
so I found because it's actually I found out a lot about printing and a lot about materials and stuff and doing this. And that's kind of another hobby I've kind of taken up on. And it's because I want it to feel good to have like the thing, you know? I want you to hold the thing and feel like this is something special. And the only way to do that is kind of by making it special, you know?
Yeah,
Um, and so like I found the closest thing to very real manga paper that they use in Japan
that's
um, to print the insides on, and it's archival, so it won't like fall apart. And it was actually really hard to find. Like that paper that they use, like there's one company that makes it that's there, and you'd have to order it by like a huge amount for them to even consider shipping it here, right? So like it's a very like it's a very specific special kind of paper that they don't really make here. So I had to find like one that was really close to it, but at the same time was also kind of like archival and all that crap. Um, and I printed out here because I've got a really good like Epson inkjet printer, that can do it because technology in the printer world has gotten really good. Then I find a good thing for the cover. Then I thought it'd be cool to have like, like a ghosty, like ghost wrap around it so that, you kind of see them through it and stuff like that and make it, just make it a whole thing.
yeah.
And so like one of the things I grabbed here was so another thing that I've been doing is and this is like a project I do with people is making things like this, like interesting comics things, right? But this is I don't know if you can see it actually.
It's
Maybe I
coming
should.
through very fuzzy. It's picking up the fuzzy from me. There we go. That's
So this
cool.
is a pizza box, right? So like
Yeah.
I'm trying to do this thing where I'm making like comics projects, but they are like heavily themed. So like you open this up, it's called Rodantes. We made like the name and we made the little guy and everything. And you open it up and then and this is on the website too, on my website. There are little pizza slices, right? There's like and each one's a different one. And then in each one of these is a different comic. It's like you open up this one, which is like the Devil's Slice, and then here's like a comic I made that's kind of like a noir, and you can open this up, and there's like a story, you know.
That's awesome.
And there's six slices, yeah. And so it's like you want to buy the Rodentes comic anthology, you get sent this. You get sent six comics that's in a pizza box, and each one is like a little pizza slice sleeve that you get, you know.
Dude, that's
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah, and we have one that's a newspaper, that's about the end of the world and stuff. And so it's all about like the four horsemen have shown up. That's called the End Times. And I printed that out on newsprint and folded everything and did it all myself. Me and a couple people, but uh I think I think what it is, like I'll be honest with you, I think it is my rebellion against AI more than anything, you know?
Sure.
Is I'm trying to make really like fun and interesting and special like products, like I want them to be I mean, and of course I can't make 2,000 copies of each. That's the holdup of it.
Yeah.
But I don't really need to, I don't think right now, but if it gets so popular I could figure out how to do that. But I mean it's just fun little projects, and that comic right there that you have, I'm limited to 500 copies. um And eventually, I'll collect it all in a book, but that would either be through a publisher or through Kickstarter or something. But as of right now, I'm hand printing, hand stapling every single one of those, and that's kind of what I'm doing.
It's awesome. It kind of feels more like a zine instead of a comic, which is cool.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
gives
well,
it
I
that personal
definitely
touch.
wanted to kind of be that.
Yeah, that's cool. And I can definitely relate with the twin thing because, and I might get this wrong because there's been some inaccuracies. So if I'm wrong, Aunt Kathy, I apologize. But my dad's mom was a twin. My aunt is a twin. My aunt had twins, and my sisters are twins. So
Yeah, it's a family
yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy, right? So like twins. So like my mom and my aunt, I think that they were from a Sicilian family, like the Tomasellos.
Okay.
And I mean, they are Sicilian like you would see in like the Godfather movie. Like,
Oh wow. Okay.
you go to a party and they are all like that. All the men are like, you know, in suits with all the rings and like laughing about stuff and all that. And
Oh wow.
you know, and all the women are like, running around and laughing and yelling and it's just like a crazy experience to go to one of my family reunions. And but they were very special because they were the only twins. Usually it's genetic. Like usually it's
Yeah.
but they were the only twins. But and because of that, like they dressed the same, they acted the same. Like they did little like, song and dance performances together and stuff. Like they were
Yeah.
like the special twins. And I don't think that helped their psychology necessarily as far as like dependency goes, but they've kind of always been like that. So like they dress very similar. Like they have the very similar interests. They're just very like um I'm telling you, it's so weird. Obviously, it's so weird. Like,
Yeah.
because then I've heard that other twins can separate and have way different lives, but some twins are very dependent on each other.
Yeah. And
And
go ahead. Sorry.
oh no, no, yeah, no.
Sorry. I think the audio is cutting out a little bit. But yeah. So
Oh,
with
I'm
my,
sorry. I know it's all you.
no, you're good. So like with my aunt, I don't remember if she was a twin or not. My grandmother, she passed away when my dad was little, and I don't know if she was identical twin or not, but I know my aunt had twins and they were identical, and then my dad, had my sisters, but they were not identical twins, which was kind of a weird thing because I think most of it was identical twins. So the fact that my sisters weren't identical was kind of a weird switch. But it seemed like it skipped a generation, kind of, sorta. But that's kind of where the twins ended in my family was with my sisters. You would think that having twins, they would have had twins themselves, but they both have had a whole bunch of kids and they didn't have twins. Me and my brother, we didn't have twins, so it was kind of weird how none of us had twins. And my dad, he was really hoping that, the twin thing would keep going. But yeah, it just, for whatever reason, it seemed like the buck stopped there with twins. But yeah, my cousins who are identical, I kind of think, like what you were saying is sometimes they kind of depend on each other and sometimes they can kind of separate and lead separate lives. And unfortunately, I haven't got to meet those cousins really ever in person. I've kind of talked to them on the phone and communicated via other ways, but um, I know that they're pretty tight. I don't think they live near each other anymore. Again, I've never met them in person, so I'm not sure, but yeah, I think with what you're saying where, sometimes, you know, certain things are different, which is pretty interesting to think about.
Yeah, and another really interesting aspect of it is so my mom was born like a minute or something before my aunt, right? And they bring that up all the time because my
Yeah.
aunt, she kind of lives a life that's very like she like my mom is the one who makes all the decisions, like and so my aunt like really like relies on that, like she won't be able to pick out what kind of couch to get, or what kind of TV to get or like, the even the cord that goes from the TV to the wall, she'll have a hard time picking out what color to make that cord. Because she depends on my mom to be like, you should you get the white one or, like because it goes with the wall color or whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like a really interesting dynamic because my aunt is really more kind of like I don't want to say like childlike, but she does have like a childlike like innocence, like where she's look how she looks at the world, and stuff like that. And the one of my characters I'm basing on that, the one that's the ghost that she has to go get where and then but then there's the one that's like my mom who is like if my aunt because my aunt's single and if like she goes on a date and doesn't call by a certain time my mom will be all worried like and because she's like why didn't she check in I hope that something bad didn't happen to her I hope like this person she met wasn't like a bad person and
Yeah.
so she'll like she's very like mothering and like very worried about her all the time and that kind of thing and so it's my two characters are very based on that. So that like the lead character, Cirrus, she's she's very worried about the sister, and she's like, I have to get there, and so I have to like, I'm trying to put a lot of that narrative in about like that pressure that's like building in her head of like it's been a day or whatever, and I don't know, she's by herself in there, and she doesn't know what to do, and she's probably like worried, and that kind of thing. And because I grew up seeing a lot of that,
Yeah.
um, and I mean, it's so in a way, it's like a love story, right? It's not like a
Yeah.
like romantic love, but it is love. It's like I said, they're like soulmates, right? Like my mom and my aunt, like I know that they love each other. Like if there's anybody, I'm not trying to say my mom doesn't love, her family,
It's just a different
but
kind of love.
it's a different kind of love, and I think it's probably the most important one she has had in her life, Like
Yeah.
I think if she was put, through a horrible test of, who to pick that she can't live without, my aunt would be that person, And it's just
Yeah.
because they've known each other every single moment of their life. Um, and and my aunt is just like a funny person. Like uh, she could have like a sitcom, you know, just of her like little adventures, and she's just like a funny, kind of goofy person.
That's funny. It's kind
Yeah,
of like, with Kevin Smith, where he always refers to Jason Mewes as his hetero life mate. That's kind of what it makes me feel like, is kind of the same kind of relationship where, you're not in love romantically, but you're in love in a different way. Like I said, a different kind of love, like a sibling, or
yeah,
like sibling love. It's totally different. I totally makes sense. And yeah, I think
yeah.
I've noticed that with a lot of twins where, one kind of takes the role of kind of like a maternal, like a decision maker, like a kind of more of a dominant personality. And there's one that kind of just, yep, whatever they say. And, I may fight their decision with whatever it might be, but, I'm going to go along with it because I can't think of a better one. And I could tell that with even my own sisters, where there's always the one sister that always is the decision maker. Even like when my dad passed away, she was kind of put in charge of everything, even though I don't think she wanted to. But, she's always really been good at, making decisions, even making like the tough decisions. My dad already kind of had her doing a lot of stuff for him anyway, so it kind of just made sense to like sign everything over to her. But so yeah, I really think, with a lot of the twin dynamic, there's always one that's kind of the maternal one, kind of the decision maker, and then there's the one that kind of just is along for the ride.
hmm Yeah. And yeah, and so that like, that's the emotional core of the story. But there is like cool battles, and there's like cool, ghosts that turn into crazy monsters. So there's like scary stuff in there, and you know, the engine that she has, she's made a small engine that can kind of like harness ghosts, right? That's
Yeah.
how she plans on getting her sister out. But it also does stuff which comes into the story later about like kind of like what this company is using these ghosts for, other than just people paying to see them. They use it for other stuff that I don't want to give away. But she could like use ghost power to like make a cool spear or something, or like a grappling hook, or that kind of thing.
Yeah,
And
that's cool.
yeah, and so it's got comic booky stuff, it's a little bit of manga, a little bit like classic like sci-fi Akira type stuff, with cool twin stuff, and a cool band like a K-pop band that's in there, and
Nice.
all that. Yeah,
That's a cool
Ghost is
technology that I think a lot of people would pay for, myself included. As weird as it sounds,
oh
like
yeah.
just the chance to talk to someone that's passed away for, 10 minutes or whatever would be a game changer, man.
I mean, absolutely. So like there is a lot of weird stuff like this society. I put a lot of work into thinking of like what would happen if somebody actually figured this out,
Yeah,
like what would happen to religion, like what would be some religious groups, what would be the way that they would respond to this, like because it kind of tears religion apart.
oh, for
So
sure.
like the religion that's there now is kind of like an amalgamation of like a bunch of different ones that are kind of come together, and they protested because they think that this company is keeping like spirits from going to their afterlife. Like they're
Yeah.
they're ripping them into a limbo, and so like that group comes into play, and then the absolute corporate greed group comes into play. Um, So yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of cool little themes in there, you know.
Yeah, definitely. All right, man. So for people who are looking to get this book, where can they find it?
So I'm gonna be selling it. Like I said, I am printing them all myself, you know, by hand, hand stapling, hand doing all of it. And so you would just order it from my website, which is matthardingart.com. Pretty easy, and it's in the store. And I'm putting it in there today when this podcast airs.
Nice. So not when we're recording. So we're recording a week later. So the day this posts out, which would be, I think we already talked about this already, but February 4th. So starting February 4th,
Yeah,
you can go on Matt's website and grab yourself a copy. Grab yourself a bunch of other cool stuff while you're there. And I'll make sure we put the website in the show notes. We'll spread it out all over social media so everybody knows where to go.
awesome. Yeah.
Awesome. So, after, not, I guess not really after this, but in addition to this, do you have any other, and the other stuff we've already talked about, do you have any other cool projects coming that you want to talk about
Sure.
or that
Yeah. I
you
mean,
can talk
so
about?
things that yeah, there's a couple of things I can't talk about yet, but I'll
Sure.
talk about it on my. I have a newsletter you can sign up for also and stuff like that. Um, I'll be putting that pizza box thing on online also, so that's a cool project. I'm working on like a fan zine with some friends that's going to be like Star Fox based because we are all talking about how much we like Star Fox.
Hell yeah, dude.
So we're doing like a cool like Star Fox zine that you'll be able to get. Um, I got a lot of stuff at Oni that's coming out that's a lot of fun. Uh, Archie stuff is fun. I really like Cult of the Lamb stuff is really cool. But we're doing
Yeah.
the Matt Kent stuff. We have a bunch of Matt Kent stuff coming out, which is gonna be fun.
Nice.
Um, so you know, for Oni, you always keep your eye on Oni. What else do I got? I mean, I think for the most part, that's kind of like what I'm going full force on is my comic, and then a couple little like things with friends and stuff. Uh,
Nice.
there's a couple things I wrote that I can't talk about yet, but that'll be coming out soon. That are interesting. Things that like licensed IPs that I've gotten a chance to work with a little bit recently.
Nice.
Um, yeah, things that you wouldn't expect from me, but that's very different than like not gone yet. And when I get a chance to talk about that, you'll see you'll probably see how like oh this is like way different. But that stuff's coming, and that's about it. I think
Nice.
for the most part.
Very
Yeah.
cool. Very, very cool. Very excited to see what's coming. Now, before I let you go, I usually give everyone a chance to share a bit of creative advice. So, what is some advice you'd share with the listening audience about creativity?
Okay. I'm gonna be real with you about this one because
Oh man,
uh, it's a weird time to
here we
be
go.
a creative,
Yeah.
right? And it's a weird industry right now. Um, we're actually like kind of like because comics goes in a cycle, you know. Like there's a boom, and then like slowly it kind of gets worse, and everybody's talking about it's over, and oh my God, like comics are no one's gonna ever buy comics again, and all this stuff, right? And then it'll boom again. So I think we're kind of on this boom right now. That like very recently, I think a lot of the absolute stuff kind of like fueled it. So it's an interesting to take that into account. Also, when you're a comics person, never listen to people who are saying that it's over because it's not. It's a medium, and you can always make comics, right? Like
Mhm.
maybe it'll be harder to sell them or whatever, but like you are the only person who are preventing yourself from making a comic, you know? Um, so what I'm gonna say is you know a lot of people will give you a lot of advice, and you know some of it's good, some of it's bad. The truth is that the thing that's cool about comics is that it really is individual. Um, you don't know what's going to work for you know until you do it because what works for you is not going to work for somebody else. What you know, the way that you know Brian Michael Bendis got to where he's at isn't that's not your path. And really all you can do is find who you are as a person and put that on the page, and that is what is, and you have to do it, and you have to put it out there, and don't let the million things that are trying to hold you up, like have fun with the process of it. Don't do it to make $1 million, like those are things you hear a lot, and they are very true.
Yeah.
And you have to know how to take some hits. You'll lose projects, and you'll lose you'll have surprises show up. And I mean, at the end of the day, uh, really to be a creative, anything, because like my partner and I, we're both creative. She writes a lot. She's a novelist, right? And her method of doing it is way different than mine. Me, I like to get there on the page, and I'm not thinking everything through. I'm just kind of going with it. And I have to work things out a little bit and go back and change things. I make mistakes. She is like you like Charlie with the red strings, where every single like little detail is absolutely perfect. And so like when she finishes a book, I mean, there you will not find a plot hole in that to save your life, because absolutely every single thing is thought out. To the point where like if there's a boat that's on the dock that the people are, like getting off of or whatever, she will actually research if in that part of the country or whatever, if that boat is actually even allowed to be in those waters, like the size of it and everything. Like she'll figure all that crap out.
Wow.
And whereas I'm just like draw the boat, like what I mean, like so there's very different processes, but that is a very good example of like, be who you are. Don't worry how long it takes you. Don't worry about, oh, I see this person over there and they're doing so much better than me, and all this like, because everybody's thinking that way. And at the end of the day, like you might put one book out when you're 55 years old or something, but because you took the time and you put yourself into it and you did it the way you wanted to do it, it will be a million times better than if you had put out 25 books that you rushed, 25 drawings that you rushed, and that you did just because you're trying to fit in with a certain group or whatnot. Um, and with that in mind, my best advice is actually a mathematical one. It's a marketing one, right? And it's what I tell myself anytime I'm thinking, oh, my art's not good, or like my story's not good, because I think that a lot. And some of the best artists that I know, they go through these really horrible, like, like self-deprecating depressions, thinking that they aren't good, that they're not going to make the kind of impact that, like this person did, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so there are what, 8 billion people on the planet, right? I think it's at 8 billion-ish,
Yeah, something like
8
that.
billion people. And we live in an age where you can, if you try hard enough or you know the avenues, but you have the ability to not even leave your house and you can reach a huge percentage of that, right? But let's say you can only reach half of that online. That's still 4 billion people. But if you're talking just the United States, that would be like 250 million or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, no matter who you are, no matter what you make, right? No matter if it's happy little cartoony things, or if it's horribly, disgusting, horrible things, no matter who you are, you can find a fan base that will sustain you. That will, you can do it, because if you think about it, you need what? 1,000 people to give you $5 a month? And what is the percentage of 1,000? Like, how much is 1,000 people according to 8 billion? I mean,
Yeah.
like, it's such a small percentage of people out there that have to agree with you. And the thing is everybody's unique, but they're not so unique that they cannot find somebody who thinks similar to them or likes the thing that they do. Like, you could literally put anything out there, and you will find people who will like it. And so the last thing you want to do is get held up on whether or not something can be mainstream, or like, um, oh man, I'm not drawing like something that, this isn't Spider-Man, because I spent a lot of my life like fighting that, thinking, oh, I got to be Jim Lee or, I got to be Alex Ross or whatever, like I spent a lot of my life doing that. And my artistic career and my artistic process has been an interesting one because it has like now I'm making pizza boxes, and just trying to figure out who I am as an artist all together, you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
not worrying about Marvel and DC. And the funniest thing about that is that once I kind of stopped worrying about that, like that is when you will start getting opportunities with those companies. Um, at least my experience has been that. Uh, like I've only done really one big two thing, which was a Batman story, and I did it in my style, like it wasn't just a beat 'em up thing. It was like a like kind of like a character piece, you know what I mean?
yeah,
And I think that's kind of how like when you get to the chance of being able to do that stuff, you want to come at it with your own angle, and the only way to do that is to just kind of do your thing, don't worry about what everybody's doing. Don't worry about your age, which is a funny thing that everybody worries about and nobody can do anything about. But
yeah,
um, don't worry about any of that stuff. Like just make the thing. Sit down and just make something. And just go that way with it. If that makes sense. I know
no,
that's
for
very
sure.
long-winded advice for
It's
for
all good.
an artist or whatnot, but yeah, don't worry about finding your audience because when you try to go out there to find it, you'll find it. You know, doesn't matter what it is. It could be stick figures making poop jokes. I mean, yeah, actually, one of the most famous card games basically is just that, right? I mean,
Yeah,
it's, you'll find it on.
for sure.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, man. So where can people stay up to date on stuff coming from you? Catch up on, all the new stuff that's coming. You mentioned your website. Where else can other people find you?
So I have basically it's Matt Harding art anywhere. So like if you go to Twitter, Instagram, Substack, that's where you want to go. I have a newsletter that comes out through Substack. That's a good way, and I share comment that like the not gone yet. I share posts that are the pages and stuff. Um, but that's probably the best way. Just to go to if you want to follow my newsletter, go to Substack and put in Matt Harding art. Go to Patreon, Matt Harding art. Except actually, don't do Patreon. I never go into Patreon anymore. So, but yeah, Substack. You could go to Twitter. You could go to or Blue Sky. Let's go with Blue Sky. Twitter, I don't go on anymore really ever either, for obvious reasons.
Yeah, yeah.
But Blue Sky is a good one. I like Blue Sky a lot. Instagram is really good. I share a lot of art on Instagram, and it's just Matt Harding art.
Very cool.
My website.
Yeah, and make sure you hit the website up and get some cool stuff for sure.
Thank you.
Now for me, I want to thank Polygon Horizon. Their song Pizza Force is the song I use for the show. Go check them out on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, and everywhere you can get your music because they're awesome. So go check them out. Fueled by Weirds on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You can find me at fueledbyweird@gmail.com. Hit me up. We can talk about nerdy stuff. You can find the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and anywhere you get your podcasts. You can also check out all my links at my Linktree. So go find me there. Check out my boy Hassel Hutchison on the Nerdy Manroom Show channel on YouTube. He's got all sorts of good stuff there. Nerdy Manroom Show, Hassel's Review, Card Subject to Change if you're a big wrestling fan. He likes to do a lot of what ifs about pro wrestling. And we're all part of the Stay Weird Network. It's a podcast network dedicated to bringing some awesome back to the internet. Check us out at Stay Weird Network on YouTube and Instagram. We've got some special stuff over there. Hassel's been doing some hidden horror gems. I just started a channel or a show about Fueled by Music where I share just different music tracks from all sorts of different artists. You might know them, you might not, but go check that out and spread the word. Also, stayweirdnetwork at gmail.com. Hit us up for all sorts of stuff. If you like the show, please leave a review and tell your friends because word of mouth is my friend. And remember, kids, it's only weird if you make it weird, so make it real weird. Matt, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, man.
Of course. Thank you.
Absolutely.